All right, I'm back for part two. I was recording and I had to take a call, so then I ended up. I thought I paused the reading, but it ended up just stopping. The recording stopped. So this is part two. So we'll see if there's any other messages that are needing to come through here from our masculine. So I was talking about the difficulty, I think, up until this point for people on this twin flame journey that are currently in their preparatory stages of healing in order to really be able to see if both counterparts can do the work necessary to come back into reunion, union, reconciliation here. So this morning, and oftentimes I find what is happening with these readings that I'm doing on my channel is that I've already channeled the message individually for myself, and then as I channel for the collective, there are similarities coming through, and that's why I'm asked to share what I'm sharing. So I just wanted to explain that. So that's kind of where we left off with the previous reading, and we're going to just keep going here. So give me a second to tap in. So I'm receiving a really important message that all of the clearings that we're doing, that I'm doing, are safeguarded for that ultimate timeline. So you see here, that selenite represents that ultimate timeline that we're striving for, okay? And we're clearing past life karma and trauma. See that? We've neutralized. Perfect. Perfect. We've neutralized that. All the ways that, our masculines felt bad that we were left in the dark, or, it was hard for them as well, worrying that we would be without because they walked away. But that was our journey, and we needed to learn how to be on our own and be independent and figure things out. And I have done that. But I guess it's true. I never really thought of what that would be like for him, because I just assumed he went on his merry way and moved into another connection with somebody else. Well, I don't think that it was that simple. And this is something that was definitely a burden, only in that he always worried. Even though he was angry and did all those other things, he always wanted the divine feminine and her children to be okay if you had kids, especially if you had kids. So we've neutralized this Five of Pentacles, which is good. And he doesn't want anyone to feel left out or be left out in the cold or anything like that. And that even includes people that he's trying to disconnect from in order to get back to his feminine, okay? But that's being cleared out of the way, because he can't be distracted by this karmic past. Like, that's done. So when something's neutralized, and if somebody else isn't willing to let go, like, let the divine deal with it. But it's important for you to be crystal clear on where you stand, and make sure that there's no opportunities for these people to be connected to you in any capacity. And this could be triangulations through other people, places, or things as well. Okay? So he sees the mistakes he made with what I just said because of the karma. And he doesn't want to have to worry about that anymore. He sees the forest for the trees. And he is very much using the crystals to help heal him. And they are providing clearings, most definitely, in the ways that this masculine needs right now to get back on his feet, to be able to see the world in the way that he really wants to now. Because he wants to align with his divine feminine. He doesn't want to be alone anymore. And especially alone with these thoughts and feelings. Like, I feel like there's a very strong urge and desire to share some of these things, and he's exhausted, and he's trying to figure out the best way to do that. See the Three Swords there? This is him, and like 3 people got hurt here, big time. And he's really much in reflection right now, thinking about how he hurt other people with the choices he made when he chose in a really hastefully way to walk away from his twin flame counterpart, his divine union. He knows it's a very special union now, and he's done all that work. He's accepted that, but there was still a little bit of tweaking today that was required before the divine would allow him to step forward in the physical to have that conversation. So I know many of us are just waiting. We're on pins and needles here sometimes, feeling it's like as if it's going to happen, and then it's not happening, and it's like, why? And you have to be patient. We have to be patient. There's reasons for that. So they want me to... There's the counterpart. Look at that. He's looking at me. Okay, so this is my masculine here. He wants me to know he's looking ahead. He's not looking back. Okay. And look at her. She's ready to fight. She's like, bring it on. And he's like, yeah, I'm not fighting with you anymore. Not interested. You know, I'm going to go over here. Let's put her there. Justice, yes. Most definitely ready for justice. Ready for things to be... Sorry, he's ready for things to come to the light, because that will bring justice. And there's something to be said about claiming your power back. And when you speak the truth, because I was getting that message earlier when I was driving my son back to work, it was a download where I was feeling and seeing him stand up to an energy. I don't know who or what it was, but person, place, or thing, but it was, and I was telling him, like, speak your truth. You can do it. You'll feel better once you say it, because it'll free you. Okay. Even if it's going to hurt somebody, doesn't matter. It's important to tell the truth. And the truth is, he doesn't want this connection to be over. And he never let it go. So technically, it hasn't been over this whole time. And I remember he's reminding me, like, he was so torn when we had that last argument where I said all these things, and I regret saying every single thing that I said at that time, because he really shut down. But at no point in time did he tell me it was over. He was so devastated. He was so hurt. So hurt. And then this one was in the background, right? This karmic, and just constantly at him. And I've had telepathic communication with this one in the past, and the way she would project everything onto me, and that was unfair. And I said, you knew he was a married, taken man, and if you swooped in the way you did at the exact point in time that you did, and you pounced on him, that's on you. His heart belongs to somebody else, and I was very clear, and you can't tamper with that. She tried everything. Everything. Nothing worked. Nothing's going to work. Look at how she's surrounded by all those clouds. She's lost. She's so lost and confused. Oh yeah, look. That's her. She's still trying to figure out. Look how he's looking towards the past there. He's trying to figure out, what else can I do? Like, I can hear all these things. Yeah, no. So they don't want me to focus on that. So we're going to clear that karmic energy. He wants me to know that there isn't toxicity anymore. That when he comes to me, it's going to be, I heard he's going to be clean and sober. And he wants to be like, often, like we would get together and then have some drinks, you know, and just talk. And that there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like for the sake of like authenticity, I feel like he wants to demonstrate to me that he can face me sober, like that he doesn't need to rely on alcohol to help him get this out, you know, that he's very sure of himself, he's strong, and not that having a drink, there's anything wrong with that, but because I think he has struggled with misusing these substances with this karmic, especially say it was very toxic. I think he's just very nervous about it. And I was very clear with him in the past that I wouldn't tolerate behavior like that. Like, if alcohol is something you struggle with, when we first got together a long time ago, very early on in our relationship, I said, it's not that I discriminate against people who have addictions, but because of my upbringing and the choices I've made in my life, I can't have chaos from somebody who has an addiction, who doesn't understand that addiction, and who does nothing about it. So I was very clear, and there was never a problem after that. And it's not to say there was at the time. I just really needed him to understand that that was my position with any partner I would have bring into my life. And I had heard different things from different people about him in his past, that he would struggle at times with substances. And I didn't know him to be that way for the period of time that I knew him as a colleague at work and being out with him socially. But certainly, it doesn't mean that there wasn't a problem. So, and he was very good about that, and he would never want to sacrifice us. And he was very clear, without having to tell me, there was never a problem, is what I'm trying to say. And I know a lot of people at that time didn't even really believe that to be the truth, but it was the truth. I didn't even know people questioned that, because it would come up afterwards, after our breakup, where people would have made comments to me about, oh, well, I heard this. And I'm like, well, that was perhaps in his past, but that was never in our relationship. And he understands that coming back, that needs to be the exact same way. And it's not because I told him. He's done this for himself, and he needs to continue to be strong and healthy. And he feels much better. And I think he's cut back. So if your masculine's really struggled with the use of substances, and it can be any type of substance, it could be food even, sometimes typically addictions, the root cause of that is to numb, and it's numbing from some sort of trauma or some pain and suffering the person's avoiding facing. So again, no judgment. That's an overindulgence, and it's an imbalance, because it's not always easy to face difficult things, especially if we feel alone, or we haven't been shown or taught, or we don't have enough support in our life. And even if we have all of that, sometimes that pain is so deep rooted and it's so tragic and traumatic that they just need to not think about anything, So it's very, very difficult, very, very difficult. So I'm very proud of these masculines who have really worked hard to really feel healthy and strong again, and to really step in their power to make sure that they're authentic, with themselves first. And then when they come forward, they want to be authentic with us. So here he's saying he wants to talk to us about like a brand new passionate beginning. Like, he's very, very sure that we are a match in every sense of the word. Okay. And look how healthy that wand is. And we know what that represents in a sexual way as well. So if there were issues before for him with past partners, and I believe there would have been, because of the toxicity and all of the things that were happening, that's not the case here with how he thinks about you, Divine Feminine. And if you're already with him in that way, that's how he remembers it. And this is what he's striving for moving forward, that he doesn't ever want it to be anything but that feeling, healthy and strong. You make him feel that way, okay? Lots of passion. So the passionate new beginning involves also an equal exchange of emotions here and sentiments. So do you see how those cups are even and both are facing each other and they're willing to exchange at that equal level? It's protected by the divine. And do you see he has that step forward? That's because they're going to be taking that step and they need to initiate it. And all it is it doesn't matter how you get together. You know, if you invite your masculine out to do something, that's fine. You can do that. And I've done that. He's done that. But it's not up to me to table that discussion. And I know he's been waiting for me to do that, and I won't do it. Absolutely not. And I'm happy to see this card in this way, because that's him. He's going to do it. Look, that's confirmation, everyone. And this represents the children, and I think obviously there's a lot to talk about from the past. There's, you know, very sweet things that he wants to tell you about that he remembers in your relationship, and he really hung on to those memories. And that it's really, really important that he tells you that he appreciated A, B, C, D, E at the time you were together, or the ways that you would do things for him and his family, his children. It's such a loving, nurturing emotion that I'm sensing right now. And the issue is that in the past, he feels that he failed and not telling you that. Okay. And I believe if there's children involved and there was a severe interfering energy that really caused a pretty significant separation there. I know in my situation that happened. The kids are confused, and he regrets not speaking up properly at the time to make sure that those dangerous things were dealt with. So I'm speaking of like severe parent alienation type situations where ex-partners would really speak ill of divine feminine who might have stepped into a step-parent role. Okay, and that's really inappropriate, and that to me is borderline abusive. In some cases it can be considered abuse, depending on how severe the cases are. I don't want to get into that, but what's important is that our masculines understand that there's a passionate new beginning that also involves his children, and he will speak to you about that. And that's going to come in stages, okay? It's not you're going to talk about all these things at the same time, but I'm happy to see that this is what this Ace of Wands represents. And right now, he's trying to figure out the best way to do that. All right? So he's invested already quite a bit into himself. I'm getting those 6 pentacles in that bush there. That's all the work that he's done on himself to really put himself in a very stable position. And he's more than halfway there with 6. There's that one that he is thinking about right now, divine feminine, and that's you. That pentacle's for you. He's chosen us. He's chosen the union, and he's going to come and give it to you. And you know, you're going to talk. You might have a romantic night. You might reconcile and reconnect in an intimate way, and there's no right or wrong to that. That's different for everybody. You need to know what's healthy for you and what's not. Okay, what's healthy for one may not be healthy for another. Okay, it's not for anyone else to judge. So be really, really careful, but tap into your heart space and you'll know. If you're not feeling 100%, don't. Step back and just explain that, and they'll understand. Okay, so yeah, there's no worries and confusion anymore. He feels horrible that he couldn't step into that Ace of Wands when he's had all these opportunities to do that, especially if you've extended yourself, divine feminine, in different ways over a period of time. Just trust that you didn't do anything wrong when you did that, and your masculine did not take advantage of that opportunity. It's okay. It's okay. And in my case, I would just send more love through the heart chakra, you know, and I would be very patient, understanding, and I would step back and allow that space and time for that person to do what they needed to do. And eventually they would check in and respond and say, hey, how's it going? And we would chat. Sometimes they would apologize for stepping away. Sometimes he wouldn't. Depends on what's going on in his life. It's different for everyone. And here you are. And he wants you to know now that he's not concerned about your strength and power and how comfortable you are with emotions and sharing your feelings. He has had to temper that fear because he never felt like he could match you. And I know my my counterpart has told me that before. But now he's feeling much stronger. The divine is really helping them balance that out, and they have balanced that out. There's no confusion anymore about what they want to share with us. They know. They've overcome fear and doubt. And they are keeping an eye on that karmic there. See how that guy's looking over there? He dealt with the two. Look at them, those two swords. I feel like, in my case, this would be his ex-partner, and she has a new boyfriend. So that's the two of them there. Yeah, so whatever they were up to, you know, he dealt with it. And he's holding two more swords, and I believe that's a conversation that he's wanting to have with his divine feminine here, and it's long overdue. And it's on the left side, so of his shoulder. That's his feminine side. So he's gonna, you know, he's ready to tap into that feminine energy in order to really assist him with being nurturing. And he wants to show you this side of him because he likes feeling vulnerable around you, divine feminine, because you do nurture him. And he's going to be proud that he's going to be able to do that, because there's going to be tremendous success with that. He's pulling from the right sources. Okay, there's no issues there, divine feminine, so don't worry. That's being safeguarded always. And he's keeping himself on the straight and narrow, and he's single. So if you're worried that he's not, he is. He's talking to the divine all the time. That's the bird there. Okay. And he just regrets that he didn't do this sooner. And I'm getting there was conflicting energy that came in from that karmic. So not the ex-partner that I was talking about that he had children with. The ex-karmic partner that he was in a relationship with after me, like a girlfriend, okay, from the past. So there was some conflicting energy that set in again because of an attack on her part. And I feel like it was an attack against divine feminine in a threatening way. I was getting a lot of that in the last couple of days, and I don't like to talk about these things. I don't want people to ever be afraid, but there's nothing to be afraid of, because I know 100% that I'm safe, and that goes in the physical realm as well. If she even tries to come near me in any capacity, on any level, okay, that's like realms, physical, anywhere, she's blocked. She can't. She can't. And I reassure my masculine telepathically about that all the time, and I thank him for wanting to keep me safe, but we can handle our own stuff. You know, and I tell him, I can manage my own stuff. If she tries, I'll deal with it. She tries to call me, shows up wherever, I will deal with it. I'm not scared. I'm not. Okay, I've had all kinds of things happen, and I assert myself the way that I need to in an appropriate way all the times that there were encounters. Okay. And she knows, and these people do this stuff in hiding. They don't work in the light. So they do it, and they're cowards, and they hide and scheme, and they have their little get-togethers with the people that they connect with to try and pull in more power and energy to manifest what it is they're trying to manifest. With ill intention, it'll never work. And if there's an illusion of it having worked even when it does, because it's short-lived. And then they incur pretty significant karma. So our masculine is really believing and hanging on to crystals and being, and that his belief in you, divine feminine, and all the things you've said looking back, he knows you were right and he was wrong. And he should not have listened to the karmics, you know, and that he is now clearing the back part of him that, you know, where he was stabbed in the back, where you were stabbed in the back, where your union was stabbed in the back, because he didn't have faith and he didn't believe you. He got all these downloads from the divine. That's why he's alone. And that's why he's above that karmic now. And she comes in, and however she tried recently, it didn't work. And he stood on his head and got extremely upset and angry and said, I said, no, stop it. Stop. And you see the angel here that's showing? We've got angels in all the parts of our fields and all of our protecting all the structure, the parts of our structures, our timelines to make sure that we're okay. Don't worry. And it's going to afford us, whoops, this brand new beginning. And I'm just realizing the storm's over. Okay. So on that note, everybody, you are very, very, in the next week, even sooner than that, you're going to have contact. Contact is imminent. It's coming. Okay, we're balancing this out right now, and it has allowed for this reset. The reset has taken, and we're good, and it's powerful, it's strong, and it's gonna stick this time. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Be strong. Okay, have faith, and yeah, see how we just move to the right there. And he's going for it. He's going for it. Good for you, Divine Masculine. Wishing everyone all the very best when you get together for this conversation. And stay in love and light always. Take care.